go. Afternoon, Daniel. Team news first of all for Millwall tomorrow night. How are you looking?
Yes, no new injury concerns. All the players who were involved for the last game are also available for the game against Millwall. Yes, some late decisions with Patrick Bamford and Geoffrey Gellard. We'll have a final session this afternoon. Both will try also to train this afternoon, and if they come through, then we take a decision who is in the squad. So apart from that, no new news.
Jayden Bogle back from suspension as well. Sam Byram has deputised for 2 suspensions for you. Is he in a position where he could play midweek and the weekend as well for you now?
Yes, we will see. So overall, I have to say I was really happy and pleased with Sam's both performances. Also not easy when you're not that much in your rhythm, and then also to play 2 times, 1 time on the left, then on the right side. I think really 2 excellent performances defensive-wise, and also in going forward. He has shipped in. It's always good when there's competition, and also Jayden before his suspension, he was excellent in the game. Junior has shipped in with many good performances and many end products also during this season. So yes, we have competition there, and this is good. That's always helpful, and all 3 are available. And we will see who we pick. Yes, with Sam, we have to keep a bit in mind for him. It's sometimes a bit more tricky when the turnaround is relatively quick due to his age. He's a bit older, and also his injury CV, but he's also recovered and available, and we'll see with what we go for.
And how close is Isaac Schmidt to getting some minutes for you as well? I expect he was maybe a little disappointed not to get on Saturday.
Yes, but there's always lots of competition. If 3 other fullbacks are chipping in with this performances, and then it's also difficult to be involved, because it's not that often that we use really 4 fullbacks during the game. Yes, recently he was struggling also with a few illnesses and little injuries, so that always broke his rhythm. And yeah, you could see that also it has impacted him a little bit in training. So needs to step up a bit in order to find the consistency in this performance level again. And as soon as he finds his consistency back in training, then he has also a chance to be more and more involved, and this is also what I want to see. So we need this competition. I always react what happens on the training pitch, and obviously also what happens performance-wise during the games. And yes, if your competitors are delivering such a level of performance, it's never easy, but it means also like a big motivation in order, yes, to improve even a bit more, because there are no gifts. It's more like who delivers plays, and that's how it works in professional football.
How tough a test are you expecting from Millwall tomorrow night then?
Yes, a tough test. So we don't have to speak about it. It's always a tough place to go. We know also as a club how difficult it was also in the recent years to win points. Last season we were excellent there and had a good win, but it's a tough place, especially once they are in red hot form like they are at the moment. Many games unbeaten, 3 wins in a row, or so many clean sheets. It's difficult to create chances against them. It's difficult to break them, and they are always dangerous, not just on the counter-attack, but also out of set pieces. And it's a pretty physical and competitive side. And I expect a completely different test in comparison to our last game, where it was always the challenge to open a deep-sitting, compact opponent. Millwall normally is completely different. They are a bit more in your face. They go for it. They will attack and chase and play brave. And so for that, the win at the weekend won't help us at all, because it will be a completely different game and different challenge. But this is what this league is all about, and you have to be ready all 3 or 4 days for a different team and a different setup. And for that, we draw a line under the last game also pretty quick, and more or less from Sunday on we are already on the focus, in order to win as many points as possible also at the Den.
Difficult on the pitch. Historically, it also used to be incredibly intimidating off the pitch as well, which was something that you had to factor into any trip to Millwall. But they seem to be putting a big emphasis on being a family club. They're due to have a light show ahead of kick-off tomorrow. Are they maybe not as nasty as they used to be in the past?
Well, when you have a look on the games, they are competitive. There's no doubt about this, and there are also no complaints. So it's also why we love this game that much. Sometimes also a bit of banter and as long as it doesn't cross a line and it's not borderline-ish and everything's okay. And also, I think this is also why we love this sport that much, because we need also this competitive edge a little bit, and that both sides try everything in order to win the game, and then there's sometimes a bit hostile or spicy atmosphere, and this is also what you normally like as a player. So normally you rise on such a occasion and don't crack under this pressure. At least this is what I expect my players also to do, and even if we would be impressed, it doesn't help at all. So it's more or less like, no, we have to be there and have to be ready. So of course it's a tough place to go, but it's still a game of football. It's still 11 against 11 on a football pitch, and the rules are still the same. So it's important that we find a good balance between keeping our nerves, but also to play with fire in the heart. So this is what we always have to do. So to stay cool in the head, but to play still with fire in the heart. So this balance will be important, especially once you go to such a special place like Millwall, and of course we want to be successful there.
Last one from me. Your thoughts on Brendon Aaronson at the moment? 4 goals and assist as well. I think he's talked this week about wanting to prove to the fans, that he really wants to be here, get people back on side. What's your assessment of how he's doing at the moment?
I think he's excellent so far in this season. It's always good when the player has a little bit of extra motivation, or perhaps even a bit of bad conscience to prove his worth, because he was also not happy with the last season that he played in the Leeds shirt. It was also difficult for him out of several reasons, and he wanted to prove this worth. You could get this feeling only in the first our initial conversations, and we are also convinced of him as a player. There are still several things in his game that he can and has to improve. He's still a young guy, but also like his work rate, his ability to work against the ball, but also his strengths in order to make many runs with the ball, his ability to set up players, so his assists, and also his ability to score goals. They're excellent for us during the season so far. I was pleased that also in the last game I was able to give him a little rest, because he's always in demand also for his national team, and there will be also lots of load and also lots of traveling. So I was pleased that I could give him 25 minutes of rest in the last game. Who knows, if I would have played him longer, perhaps he would have had another assist or another goal. But it's not about individual targets that much. It's about that we are successful as a group, and Brendon is a role model to do this, because he works so hard for the team. It's not just about this end product. This is important for an offensive player, but I think also what he invests in order to make us compact, to win the ball back in the pressing, in the counter pressing, and also to sacrifice himself sometimes to stretch opponent, and then one of his teammates is more like gets the credit by having more space. This is quite crucial for us, and I think he's playing an excellent season so far.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hi, Daniel. Millwall have nearly as many set-piece goals as goals from open play. Is there a psychological element to preparing your players so they're ready but not overly concerned? And does Joe Bryan being out change that at all?
Well, it's always important to be also mentally ready for the battle, and it's definitely also one of the topics against Millwall, to be ready for the battle of defending crosses and set pieces. It's important. It's not easy to defend a player like Cooper, for example, because he's simply just that tall. You can't win every header against him, but you have to make sure that you're close, that you're competitive, and you disturb him, that he doesn't have a free and a clear header. So I think it's always important to find the balance. It's more or less like, okay, everyone thinks it's difficult to defend all the set piece. Yeah, no worries. Come on, let's bring the set piece in. I defend it. So first of all, the better we are in possession, and the less long throw-ins, corner kicks, wide arrow free kicks we allow, the easier our life will be. But it's also like, okay, when we have to defend a set piece, and it's also not like to be overly concerned. You have to know about their strengths, but also like, no, it's also like, we are not scared, we are competitive and want to win this. And we have also strong headers in our team, like Pascal, like Joe Roden and all the others. So we have also proven in the past that, especially in defending set pieces, we were really excellent. Our record in defending, not conceding in set pieces is excellent, and long may this continue. Hopefully we can replicate, and we need to replicate this also tomorrow. In the recent weeks we have also scored, and out of set piece again, two corner goals in the last weeks. And it's also important for us. We know that we have a strength there as well, but you have to be mentally ready. And it's always important. And of course, so sometimes if a player is available or not available for the opponent, it makes a difference. But it's also not like when a good set piece taker is not available, or a good, let's say, good target player is not available. It's more like then you can relax. No, you have to be even a bit more on it. And it's important that we are good on this topic tomorrow.
It's more than a month now since Ethan began his rehabilitation. How's it going for him, and what kind of noises are you getting from the medical team?
Yes, good. So he's working hard. He's doing already some running stuff on the pitch. It will last a while till he can really join us in team training. But he's, I would say, even a bit ahead of schedule. So I'm carefully optimistic that he can perhaps return back to team training a bit earlier. We will see. So we spoke about that. Normally it would be realistic for him to arrive back in team training perhaps in the middle of December, and then to be available after such a long break for the games, perhaps in the beginning of January. Yeah, would be nice if he can help us already a bit earlier and a bit sooner, because obviously he's our captain and a versatile player, and we would love to have him back in training, but also available for the games. But we also won't overrush it because it was a serious injury, and he just needed the time. I would say at the moment he's a bit ahead of schedule, but let's see how it develops. So it's always a bit difficult to say, no, he will return earlier to team training, because it's more like during his rehab you have to extend the loads more or less from day to day, and there could be also a day when you have to be a bit more careful and you have to get one step back perhaps. So pretty rarely in my career I've experienced a really straightforward rehab, and it was like really each and every day just better. So far it was each and every day really, really better, and it looks really good, but it's too soon to judge when he really can help us again.
Hi Daniel. In the 30 games that you've scored first since you've arrived, you've won 27 and drawn only 3. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that's so dominant when you score first?
Credit to the boys. Obviously it's always from the mental side, but also from the tactical point of view, beneficial once you go in lead. But I think it's also due to our really good tactical behavior and our structure against the ball, especially once we are in lead. We also know what is necessary to defend, how to be compact, especially also when there are moments when the opponent take more risk, and we have, it's football. Normally we always like to press really high and to attack, but when there are moments when we have to defend a bit deeper, we also normally know what to do then, and that we are well structured also against the ball. And I think for a team who actually wants to win something, and in an ideal world also to win some silverware, it's also important. You need this. So all the teams who win titles, all the teams who win European World Cup competitions, or perhaps the Champions League, they will also during such a competition have tough games, and you need to know then what you have to do in order to defend, and we need to know this. So and we do. So the lads are normally always excellent once we are in lead, and that we then have also players who can be dangerous on the counter attack, for example, when we have a bit more space. This is also quite natural, and this is what we can use, and perhaps even a bit more in comparison to once we always have to open a deep sitting opponent like Plymouth. But also for this scenario we have good solutions, and it's important all the questions that the game gives you to have the good to answer. And at the moment we are on a really good path, and it's an impressive record, I know. Yeah, just from the probability, there is also sometimes, the longer it goes, the more there is perhaps also like just from the probability, the moment when it could be also the other way around and you lose sometimes such a game. So you can't rest just on the record, and you have to make sure that you want to extend and prolong it. And this is also what we want to do. But for this, I have to praise the lads. They were excellent.
You've talked a lot about how young the squad is and building with them together as a group and going through this experience together. When you look around the dressing room for a match like this, do you see a lot of players that want those physical challenges and want to go into a game like Wednesday's?
We need this, and for that we need also the experienced players who have perhaps already experienced what it means to play at the Den and to play against a side who is coming with bravery and also with confidence and also lots of physicality, and there will be a few elbows flying around on the pitch. It's always important that you prepare, especially the young players, because players like Sam Chambers, Charlie Crew, James Ceballo and all the others, they have never experienced something like this, because it's a different it's a different sport, a different animal in comparison to youth football, and you have to get ready for this. And this is why I always mention, just with, as much as I love our young players and I love to develop them and to give debuts away, but just with 11, 17 and 18 year olds, you won't win the league. That's definitely for sure. So it's important that you also need steel and you need leaders in the dressing room and players like Pascal, like Joe Roden, or also up front, because we need also physicality up front and also in midfield. So we have this type of players, perhaps not as much as other teams have, but for that we have other tools, and we also want to make sure that we don't rely just on elbows and just on steel and just on resilience. We need to show this, but we also want to make out of this game our game and bring our skills and our advantages into this game. So I think it will always be a mix out of showing this resilience and the steel, but also to make sure that we don't try to copy opponents. More like we want to be ourselves and have many minutes where we bring our strength in the game, and they have to adapt to what we want to do, and to find this balance is always crucial.
Hi Daniel. Daniel James back in the Wales squad today. You mentioned to Baron on Saturday how he needs the rhythm of games, and also talked about managing his minutes. So will you have any conversations with Craig Bellamy or with the medical departments to talk about managing his load?
No, because at the moment, just important that he comes good through this last 5 days together with us, and let's see how he comes through it and how many minutes he will get, and is more or less each and every day that he is not re-injured helps also, like with his body, and obviously Craig is also was experienced as a player and also is his experienced guy in this business. He knows that Daniel was out for 6.5 weeks, and but obviously also, like each and every manager wants his team to be successful, and of course to have a fully fit and full of confidence Daniel James back and available is always important for us, but also for the Wales squad, and for that I also totally accept that he will probably be involved also in the games. Of course, I would prefer if he would be also perhaps not given each and every game 90 minutes, but at the moment we just have to focus to get him through this 2 games, and then we will see the other outcomes. So I won't tell Craig what he has to do, because he's experienced enough and also wants to be successful. And if he wants to use Daniel, of course, it's also a big honor for each and every player to play. So no player would travel to his national team and say, no, I don't want to play, I just want to sit on the bench. So I also totally understand that Daniel James would like to represent his country, and for that we totally accept this. But I also would be happy if he wouldn't have to play each and every game 90 minutes, yes.
And it feels like probably since the Sunderland game that the team's level has just gone up a notch in terms of performances particularly. Do you think the injuries to Ethan and Ilya has just caused others to take a bit more responsibility, to push themselves forward a bit more and sort of carry a bit more of the load?
No, I wouldn't say that the injuries were beneficial for us in this way. But it's also just during a long marathon of the season, you have different spells. I would also say that even in the first games, we had excellent performances. When I think about our first home game against Portsmouth, we played them out of the park, but we missed a bit this efficiency and this cutting edge, and this was something that we were a little bit missing to convert our really good performances always into a result. And recently we have done this even a bit more in terms of being more effective in front of the opponent's goal. And yes, perhaps we knew in the beginning we were not perfect in our efficiency rate. And then obviously we also had the injuries. Perhaps from the psychological point of view, it brought the group perhaps even a bit closer together, that they knew, okay, come on, times are difficult. Our captain is not there. Ilya, who was excellent, is not there. Max Wöber was out more or less the whole time. Or right now, Laji Ramazani. We have to concentrate even a bit more in order to be brutal in front of the opponent's goal, in order to be a bit more clinical. Yes, perhaps this could be the case, but sometimes it's also a bit coincidence that you always are there then efficient and use your chances, although you have missed in the weeks before some chances. So I wouldn't overinterpret and say, okay, right now we've learned the lessons. So sometimes also a bit, need a bit of luck, and sometimes a bit coincidence if you have a period when you are really brutal and clinical, and sometimes you just hit the post and not just the inner post and the ball goes in. I wouldn't overinterpret this.
Thanks,
good. Thank you.